We were discussing hello. So we are discussing about the WDM concepts in the last session. WDM means wavelength division multiplexing. So we've gone through the operation principle of the WDM, how wavelength division multiplexing is going to be implemented along with some active and passive devices. After that, we've gone through the discussion of WDM standards, where we have came across two versions of the WDM standards, DWDM and CWDM. So after going through those things, so today we'll continue with one of the important passive device that is that belongs to multiplexer category. So this one is a four-port multiplexer named after two people who actually invented this one. Mach Gender Interferometer Multiplexer. So first of all, we'll try to understand what we mean by interferometer and why our multiplexer is named after this interferometer. So interferometer is a most widely used configurable optical device in the science domain, science stream. It's a main job, the duty of this device, this optical device is, so whenever it is getting two optical rays, as you might be observing here, I have shown one of the path, curved one, another path is a straight one going from one to another end. So there will be some path difference will be there. The curved path will be more longer than the straight path, assume that by an amount of delta L. So this path difference leads to some phase difference. So that is the job of the interferometer. Interferometer, what it will do? It is an optical device which can be configured in such a way that it will generate a particular, generate the phase shift for the particular path length difference between the two specific optical ray paths. So that concept, this Mach gender interferometer, that concept of the device is used in this four-port multiplexer. So hence this device is named as 2 by 2 MZI multiplexer. MZI means Mach gender interferometer. So guys, we are looking today a very important discussion of this model, that is a 2 by 2 MZI multiplexer. So as you can see here in the first figure, the left hand side you can see two ports have been shown there, EN1 and EN2, which are the two input ports from which optical rays are entering into the device. One minute. So here, so in EN1 we are getting the optical ray path that is not having the straight line path, which has the curved path entering at the input port in1 and going to escape from this 2 by 2 multiplexer at the output port E out one. Similarly, we got another optical ray path entering at the input port E into, which has got the straight line path, you can see here, then escaping out from the output port E out 2. So likewise, we got two input ports and two output ports corresponding to uh, one, the curved ray path corresponds to E in 1 and E out 2 ports, and the straight line path of the optical ray related to the ports E into and E out 2 of the 2 by 2 MZI multiplexer. So you can see that suppose if you assume the straight line length of this directed optical ray path is L, then this curved path obviously it is going to be larger than the straight line path. Let us assume this one is more than this L by an amount of delta L. So that one thing logically we can say that the curved path will be larger than the straight line path. So this path length later it is going to act as a phase shifter because this path length difference resulting into the phase difference, that is acting like this portion is acting like a phase shifter. Okay, so in the initial part you can see we got the for the length of around d, you can say, on either side of the straight line L of the phase shifter. The first initial d length, assume that it is d portion of this MZI, assume that it is acting like a splitter, 3 dB splitter, means it is going to split these two optical rays by an amount of 3 dB, 3 decibels. They should not be combined. Similarly, we got after traveling this much of length L in the space sector, this much of length, it is passing through this another 3 dB combiner. So here it is going to combine these two signals and getting them as E out 1 and E out 2. So here combining is nothing but not you are going to uh, multiplex them. So you are combining to some extent, but later you are getting them as two separate signals here. So here the typical version of this 2 by 2 MZI is shown here. So one signal is arriving at E in 1 here. The color uh, symbolic diagram has been shown below this first diagram. So the first one is acting like the directional coupler itself has been used as a 3 dB splitter and a combiner. So the first initially the directional coupler has been used as a splitter, which is going to split these two signals, resulting into the straight line and the curved path for these two light rays. The middle portion is actually acting like a phase shifter, or also known as a Mach-Zehnder interferometer, which is going to result into, or it is simply you can say it is going to convert the path length difference into its corresponding phase length difference, phase difference. Later, another directional coupler acting like a combiner is going to combine these two so that we are going to get. So it is combining in such a way that, sorry, you can see the working principle. This is structural point of view, construction point of view, how we can tell all these things. So after that, we can see how we can, okay, first let us revise here. So constructional part, how we can explain. So first you can understand here or you can elaborate in 2-3 sentences about Mach-Zehnder interferometer. Why this name is attached before this multiplexer. Otherwise we know all the things about 2 by 2 multiplexer. So moreover, so after that, it is better. Let us take this. Okay. So after this one, telling about the significance of this, why you are including this Mach-Zehnder interferometer before multiplexer. Later you can elaborate with respect to this figure. This figure. So how many input ports and output ports it has got, and how many rays you are entering getting entered in this particular device, and what are their corresponding lengths, and what are the three different portions of this 2 by 2 multiplexer. So initial portion is acting like a 3dB splitter. So later D portion, this section, another D section is acting like a combiner. So in either case, we are using direction coupler as a splitter or a combiner. Okay. So this much you can tell as far as the constructional point of view of these two figures. So let us see what is the operating principle. Operating principle lies with why it is itself is called as a multiplexer, because you got two inputs means you need to have only one output. Okay, but we are showing two outputs here, E out 1 and E 2. Actually, if you look at here in this diagram carefully, E out 1 is not shown arrow, only E out 2 we are showing, means only one output we are getting out from this device, which means that because of the phase difference involved, these few components of these two rays will be constructively added or coming in phase, and they will be added and coming out of this device through the output port EOut. Similarly, some components of these two rays, means electromagnetic field components, which are not falling in phase or they are falling out of phase, they are destructively added, or you can say subtracted or cancelled each other, and nothing will be coming out, means zero signal will be coming out from this CO2, means no signal. So therefore, so actually it is 2 is to 1 max only. We are getting only one signal because of the constructive or destructive addition of these phase components. The phase components which are coming in phase will be added constructively, and it will be emitted out from this MZI multiplexer as a single signal. There is only single output only, but it lies with which one of them are going to be constructively added or destructively subtracted, means totally cancelled out. Okay, so this much, this is the main concept that you have to remember. So this is similar to the February period cavity ferrometer, resonator, where you have seen that between the two reflecting facets, the light rays are uh, undergoing multiple reflections, and on 90% of the reflections will be retained inside the facets. Only 10% of the reflected light will be coming out. So means only those lights which are coming in phase will be constructively added and going out of this device. Okay. So the same concept will be using here in this MZI interferometer multiplexer. So you can cooperate. Some disturbance will be there. Some noise is coming there. So hope you are listening to my voice. You can focus on that. So coming to next continuing, this is one of the typical commercially available MZI interferometer device. This is how it looks, and it can be used in one of the typical applications there. So let us look into the important today's discussion. Let us enlarge for the time. Okay. So we'll continue the discussion, the quantitative discussion of this MZI interferometer multiplexer with the propagation matrix or coupling matrix M. So coupling matrix, that is denoted by the symbol M coupler of having the length T. Okay. So we got the two length there for the splitter and the combiner of length D using the directional coupler. So this coupling matrix is given by, it is a complex parameters are there. It is a 2 by 2 matrix consisting of four complex numbers in terms of K and D. K is a coupling coefficient. D is the section of the splitter and the coupler, so combiner in the MZI interferometer multiplexer. So by considering the 3 dB couplers, which divide the power equally. Power equally means we have to substitute, make a substitution for KD equal to pi by 4. If you make a substitution for KD equal to pi by 4, why? Because we are assuming that the power is divided equally. Ideal case, but not as such. Not 50-50 will be there, but some difference will be there. So therefore, with the assumption that equally the power will be divided between the ports, we can make a substitution for KD equal to pi by 2. So if you make a KD equal to pi by 2, so what you are getting? Pi by 4. So we'll get cos pi by 4, that is 1 by root 2. Similarly, J sin KD means pi by 4, that is a sine pi by 4 means root 2, 1 by root 2, J by root 2. Like that, you can get this 1 by root 2 as a common from this coupling matrix. Then what you are left inside is 1, J, and 1, like that. So in the main part of this one, in signals central region, this is what is happening with respect to the splitter and the coupler, the beginning and the end parts. Now in the central region, that is acting like a phase shifter. Signals in the two arms have the phase difference of pi. It may be due to the difference path length, that is N1 not equal to N2. Okay. So if you assume N1 not equal to N2, that brings into the path length difference. Because of that, we will be getting the phase difference. Assume that it is denoted by pi. So let us indicate, because of the small difference in the length, path length inward, that is delta n. Assume that that led to the small difference in the phase, that is a delta pi. Because of N1, so because of N1, that is the path length involved to straight line path. Okay, L. L is a straight line path, what we have assumed. Assume that it is going to be 2 pi N1 by lambda into L. This is the phase constant. Sorry, proper phase constant. Minus this 2 pi into by lambda into bracket L plus delta lambda. So this is not exactly the minus, we will be taking the difference of this. Whichever is maximum will come first. Okay. So like that, by taking the difference between the two path length differences, we are able to compute the small change in the phase difference. So the same thing. Now next continuing, suppose if N1 and N2 are denoted by effective length, then delta pi equal to K into delta L, where K is nothing but 2 pi N effective divided by delta L. You can make a substitution. So for the given phase difference delta pi, the propagation matrix M delta pi for the phase shifter. Initially, in the first step, you have written the coupling matrix with respect to the splitter and the coupler. Now we are writing the coupling matrix, that is a propagation matrix M delta pi for the phase shifter. Because a phase shifter is mainly concerned with the involvement of the change in phase. That's what is known as a propagation matrix M delta pi. So that can be given by, in terms of exponential factors, e to the power of jk delta L by 2 and e to the power of minus jk delta L by 2. So if you expand these two, e to the power of jk delta L by 2 means how much? In terms of cosine and sine, cos of k delta L by 2 plus j sine k delta L by 2. Here also cos and minus sine. If you manipulate it again, you will be getting those things back. So next what you are getting, after defining the coupling matrices for the splitter and the coupler in the first case, and now for the phase shifter in the second case, that is central portion. Now we'll look into the rays which are entering and going out. Optical output fields E out 1 and E out 2 from the two central arms related to the input fields E in 1 and E in 2. Okay, and they are given by this relationship or by this mapping matrix in the form of matrix. Means the output powers coming from the two output ports related with the input powers through which we are applying the two optical rays by some coupling matrix M. this coupling matrix M is acting like a constant of proportionality. Okay. So where M is given by M coupler, because the first section will be acting like a splitter, or coupler. You can say coupler here is indicating. You can write splitter here, means direction coupler only, into M delta phi, that is central portion. Then yeah, another M coupler. Okay. So here what is happening here is that what I want telling, this one. So this M coupler, what we have defined, it is for both splitter and the coupler. And this M delta phi, what you have defined, it is for the phase shifter. Okay. So initial portion is this one, the splitter, that we have to write, include the one M coupler, M delta phi for the central region, and another M coupler for this combined. Okay. So three regions are there in this 2 by 2 MZI multiplexer, like that. So that's why we have to multiply these three matrices term by term, and then you will be able to get a 2 by 2 matrix having the terms M11, M21, M12, and M22. So guys, you have to directly remember this one. Uh, so no steps are expecting, or we are not required to remember. So that's why you have to remember this directly. So J sin k delta L by 2 cos k delta L by 2, these terms. So the technique for this to remember is, your anyhow we are e to the power of j k delta L by 2, J is involved. So that J we are keeping it outside the matrix. Then e to the power of jk delta L by 2 means it is a cos k delta L by 2, you can write here, and second term you are writing here. Similarly, cos k delta L by 2 you are not writing in the present column, you are writing in the another column, like this here. So here you can see cos k delta L by 2 you not written in this column, you have written instead in this column, second column. Similarly, e to the power of minus j k delta L by 2, if you expand it to what you will getting, cos k delta L by 2 minus j sin k delta. So cos k delta L by 2 term you are not writing in this present column, you write in the first column. Then it is a minus sign is there, minus sign k delta L by 2. So j is a common, that you are keeping it outside. Okay. So like that you try to remember the net M, that is a coupling matrix. Okay. So remember the steps here. In the first step, we defined the coupling matrix concerned to both splitter and the coupler, the first and the third section of the MZI interferometer multiplexer. Then gone to the focusing on the central portion. There is a phase shifter with this relationship M delta phi, that is a propagation matrix M delta phi. Then both are related with the help of output and input ports are related with the help of this coupling matrix M. So this coupling matrix M is given by the relationship between all the three sections of the MZI interferometer, that is a splitter, central section, and coupler combined. So it is coupler we are writing, means direction coupler itself we are using as a splitter and the combined. So here coupler actually refers to the direction coupler. And this already I have told how to remember this. So these things you are getting by assuming that N1 and N2 are equal to the effective length, N effective. Then we are going to modifying the delta phi. Okay. Hence, to build the multiplexer inputs to MZI, so what we are getting, so hope it is visible. Yes. In1 will become lambda 1, having one lambda wavelength. In2 will be lambda 2, assume that it is having different wavelength. Then E out 1 is given by this equation. This also you have to remember it directly. And E out 2 is given by this equation. So always remember the first output En1 or E out 1 are in phase. Means they are adding. E in 2 or E out 2 is going to be subtracted. So where the Kj will be doing, there is a propagation constant. So output powers from the light intensity are equal to the squares of the magnitude we have to take here. Because of the involvement of the imaginary part in these complex terms, we have to consider only the magnitude. So we have to take the magnitude of this one by taking the square root of these field strengths. Hence the P out one we are getting by taking the dot product between E out one dot star E out one. Star E out one, it will indicate the complex conjugate of this one, because these are the complex numbers. If you multiply these two, one real and another one its complex conjugate, if you multiply these two, then you will be getting the square of the corresponding field strength. That is the magnitude you are getting. Now you can see the both the outputs you are getting it as a plus. Okay. So let us see what we are next getting. If it is required that all the power from both the inputs to leave the same output port, that is a port 2, then k delta L by 2 pi and k1 delta L by 2 equal to pi by 2 this. So the phase difference should be kept as like this with this relationship. So k1 delta L by 2 equal to pi and k1 delta L by 2 equal to pi by 2 k2 and delta L by 2 equal to pi. So if you take the path length difference, again what you will be getting k1 minus k2 delta L equal to, and you can substitute those things whatever we have taken here. The path length difference initially what you have calculated here, the delta phi, that you can substitute here, and you can see the pi will be got cancelled. So finally you are getting the length difference, that is in the interferometer, that is delta L by this equation, where delta V is the frequency separation of the two wavelengths. Delta L is the length difference and delta V will be the frequency separation of the two wavelengths. So this is a very important formula we are getting. Okay. So next consider a simple numerical here. The input wavelengths of a 2 by 2 silicon MZI are separated by 10 gigahertz. Separated by 10 gigahertz means it is given. What is given there? Frequency separation delta V is given there. Delta lambda he has given, that is 0.08 nanometer at 1515 nanometer technology with effective path length 1.5 in silicon wavelet. N effective is given. Find the wavelength difference means delta L. So delta means this formula you can use. So not this one, lambda 1, lambda 2, you have to use this. If lambda 1, lambda 2 are given, you could have used this. Okay, you have to remember both. Now as delta V is given, you can directly make use of this. Say the velocity of light, n effective is given, that is 1.5 guys, you can make a substitution here, not 1.1, it is 1.5. Then delta V, it will be 10 as usual. Then I want you to check this one because I have written 10 mm. So if you are getting different value, you can quote me in the WhatsApp group as a majority, then I will go for correct unit. So delta L for this corresponding N effective 1.5 will be getting 10 millimeter. So the second section was asking if the frequency separation is 130 gigahertz instead of 10 gigahertz. 130 gigahertz now. So it is going to be the diameter will be increasing. Instead of 10, it will be 130. It is increasing means delta L will be still further reduced. So we'll be getting, instead of 10, now we'll be getting very much less, 0.77 mm. Okay. So guys, this is all about this MZ interferometer multiplexer. This is how you have to explain about its construction, having 2 by 2 two input and output ports, which is working on the principle of the phase shifter, splitter, and the combiner. Of course, you can see in this diagram that the no arrow mark will be shown in one of the port. Hello? Well, hello? Okay. No output will be shown in one of the port, E out one. Only one output you are getting. Actually, it is acting like a multiplexer. Okay. So later, also I have explained what is the principle of working. Principle of working is very simple. phase shifter that is going to convert the path length difference into the change in phase, and how we are going to get only one output. So the phase components which are constructively adding will be coming out as a single signal. The phase components which are uh, destroyed or cancelled out because of the out of phase relation between them, zero signal will be generated. So like that, in such a way that in this way we are going to get only one output. As such, it is multiplexer itself. Okay. Of course, we got two outputs ports, but it is acting like a multiplexer in this sense. So this is a normal commercially available MZI interferometer multiplexer. And next we have gone through the derivation for the path length difference, how we are going to get in this interferometer multiplexer. So in the first section, we defined the coupling matrix concerned to the, the splitter and the combiner, that is the first and last direction couplers. That is this equation you got. Later, by assuming the path length difference, that is Ln del plus delta L, that you have to explain during the construction part, you are going to get the path length difference, the phase difference delta pi. And then by assuming effective length N1 and N2 equal to N effective, we got the manipulated change in the phase, that is delta phi, in terms of N effective, and we got arrived at the propagation matrix M delta phi for the central portion, that is a phase shifter. Okay. So later we got related both the output and input ports power relationships with the help of the parameter M, that is a coupling matrix M. That is the product, the vector product between M coupler, M delta phi, and M coupler, which is going to yield a 2 by 2 M parameters. 2 by 2 M parameters like this. This you have to remember. Then assuming the input as lambda 1 and input 2 as a lambda 2, we got two outputs here in terms of lambda 1 and lambda 2, because we have to assume different lengths, because it is 2 by 2 interferometer multiplexer. The corresponding output powers have been obtained by taking the square of the field strength, by taking the corresponding uh, vector product of the real and its complex conjugate parameters. So later, by taking the phase difference based on the path length difference with these assumptions, we got arrived at the final question for there is a path length difference of the MZ interferometer. So problem is also very simple. So you have to remember this formula, either this or this, whichever the data is given in the problem, you have to use that formula, direct substitution, and you will get the solution. Next, today we also going to discuss about another passive device which is going to support in the implementation of uh, your WDM technology, wavelength division multiplexer. Isolator and circulators. These are actually known as a non-reciprocal, can see, non-reciprocal passive optical devices. Non-reciprocal means, what do you mean by non-reciprocal? They are not reciprocating. Means energy if you give at one of the input port, it is going to the next port. For example, in the circulator, you might have seen, for example, here, okay. So it is a 3-port circulator. If you give any input at the port 1, it will not come back, run back to port 1. It will go to out from port 2 1. If you give anything as input to port 2, it will go out from port 3. And if you give any, hello, and if you give any input to port 3, it will go out from port 1. That is known as a non-reciprocating. So to understand the operation, we have to understand some basic concepts here. That is a polarization and non-polarization sensitive components are concerned. Light is a combination of parallel and perpendicular vibrations. Yes, it is a combination of parallel and perpendicular vibrations. So two orthogonal plane polarization states of light wave. So orthogonal means they are 90 degree to each other. So we know that what you mean by this polarization or polarizer. Polarization is a plane. Okay. So okay, we'll come back to this polarization. Let me tell you uh, what is flowing in these circulators or isolators or these passive devices, multiplexers. Just now we have discussed DMZ multiplexers. All the way, our intensity modulated light is flowing, propagating. And where you are using this one in the WDM technology, volume division multiplexer. Okay, you are using multiplexer to combine the signals. You are using isolators and circulators to split or to combine the signals or to route the signals for such applications. In all these passive devices, you are dealing with the intensity modulated wave. Intensity modulated wave means your electromagnetic signal is modulated by the light ray, photons. Means your photons will be containing these E and H components. E component in one direction, H components orthogonal to that one, another direction. And your propagation of information is happening in a direction orthogonal to these two both. There is a three-dimensional. If you take x as E component, y in the y direction as h components, your information is for propagating in the direction orthogonal to these two, x and y. That is a z. Okay. So that is what I mean by polarization plane. Polarization plane concerned to the plane wave corresponding to the space or the plane corresponding to the orientation of the field components. For example, the plane which corresponds to the aggregation or set of E field components, how they are oriented, in which direction they are oriented. That is what you mean by polarization state. Whether all the orientation of all the field E field components in that particular plane are 90 degree or 45 degree, they are oriented like that. That's what we mean by polarization states. Okay, so that's what he is telling. Light is a combination of parallel and perpendicular vibrations. Two orthogonal plane polarization states of light wave. A polarizer is a material or device which transmits only one polarization component and blocks the other. Means it will be constructed or manufactured, or you can say configured in such a way that it will allow, it's something like a filter, frequency selective device. Means you can say it is a polarization sensitive device. It is going to allow only those E field components which are having E field components oriented in a 90 degree, or it is allowing only those E field components which are oriented in the 45 degree. Like that. Means the remaining E field components which are oriented. Yes. Remit, you can mute yourself. Yes. All of you mute yourself, it is creating the noise. So that's what we mean by polarizer. Polarizer is a material device that is going to allow only one particular E field component orientation, blocking other orientations, blocking other E field components in other different directions of orientations. Faraday rotator is another polarizing device that rotates the polarization state itself, state of polarization itself, by some specific angle. You can tell polarization Faraday rotator. You can tell that you can rotate the incoming E field components orientation by 35 degree, 22 degree, 18 degree like that. So Faraday rotator can automatically do it. That's what the duty of the Faraday rotator. Half wave plate rotates the SOP, this state of polarization, fixed angle clockwise by 45 degree for signals going from left to right, and anti-clockwise by 45 degree signals propagating in the other direction. This is very important. Half a wave plate, it is similar to Faraday rotator only. Faraday rotator and half wave plate both are going to rotate the SOP, state of polarization, means orientation of the field components. The only difference is that Faraday rotator enjoys the flexibility of rotating by specific angle of orientation. But whereas uh, half wave plate is fixed, it cannot give any uh, adaptive orientation. So if any signal, if it is looking going from left to right, it is going to rotate those E field components by 45 degree clockwise. Hello, hello. Okay, I will let me repeat this because of the net problem. You haven't listened to that. Half wave plate, what it is doing, if it is getting any E field components moving or propagating from left to right, it will rotate those E field component orientation by 45 degree clockwise. 45 degree clockwise, remember. Vice versa, anti-clockwise in the reverse direction. That is the main difference between Faraday rotator and the half wave plate. Okay. So after this one, next you can see optical oscillators. So we'll stop now. These with this basic idea. Tomorrow we'll discuss in detail about optical isolators, circulators, and grating devices. Let's stop now.